President Trump spoke at Thursday's National Prayer Breakfast in a God and country-infused speech that would appeal especially to people who appreciate Christian nationalism, the belief that God has a uniquely Christian purpose for the United States.
We can all be heroes to everybody and they can be heroes to us, Trump said. As long as we open our hearts to God's grace, America will be free, the land of the free, the home of the brave and the light to all nations.
The National Prayer Breakfast is a massive ecumenical gathering put on annually by a group of Christians who want to focus on a shared admiration of Jesus.
Every president since Dwight D. Eisenhower has attended the prayer breakfast, which draws several thousand people from all over the world and especially attracts evangelicals.
At last year's breakfast, Trump vowed to end the Johnson Amendment, a provision in the tax code that prevents non-profit organizations such as churches from endorsing or opposing political candidates.
It would take an act of Congress to repeal the measure, but attempts by Republican leaders to do so last year were unsuccessful.
This year, however, Trump made no policy promises at the Washington Hilton gathering.
His speech was also much more scripted than last year's, in which he joked about how the ratings of Trump's former reality TV show, The Apprentice, had fallen with former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, a Trump critic, as host. This speech followed the line of previous presidents who highlight faith as a part of America's history and tradition, but Trump spent the bulk of his speech on God and country references alongside stories of Americans who sacrificed for others.
America is a nation of believers, and together we are strengthened by the power of prayer, Trump said.
Trump noted that God is mentioned 4 times by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence.
Our currency declares in God we trust, he pointed out, and our Pledge of Allegiance states, we are one nation, under God.
The words "Praise be to God" are etched on top of the Washington Monument, Trump noted, and those same words are etched in the hearts of people.
Our rights are not given to us by men, our rights are given to us from our Creator, he said.
No matter what, no earthly force can take those rights away.
We see the Lord's grace, Trump said, through acts of generosity and service from teachers, police and others who do good deeds.
When Americans are able to live by their convictions to speak openly of faith, Trump said, our nation can achieve anything at all.
Trump's message focused on the inspiring stories of people who have gone through struggle but held on to hope and faith.
Trump highlighted the Islamic State's torture of Christians, Jews, religious minorities and countless Muslims. He also noted the story of North Korean defector Ji Sung-ho, who was badly injured and recently attended Trump's State of the Union address.
Trump said Sung-ho would recite the Lord's Prayer to keep from losing hope.
Let us resolve to find the best within ourselves, Trump said. He hinted at a desire to worship without fear, a nod to religious freedom concerns, which is an issue that resonates with many evangelicals.
Similarly, Trump spoke several times of the need to protect religious liberty, an issue that resonates with many evangelicals in his base.
America will flourish, as long as our liberty, and in particular our religious liberty, is allowed to flourish, he said. The keynote speaker Thursday was Rep. Steve Scalise, our law.
The House Majority Whip who was shot in the hip last year in Alexandria, Virginia, during a practice for Congress's annual charity game. Scalise, who went through several surgeries and returned to Congress 15 weeks later, has said that the shooting gave him a renewed faith. It's only strengthened my faith in God, and it's really crystallized what shows up as the goodness in people, he said in his first address to Congress after he returned in September. Scalise, who is Catholic, said that when he was lying on the field, the first thing he did was pray.
Several media reports earlier this week falsely suggested that Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, who has spoken about how faith helped him cope with a knee injury that cut his National Football League season short, was supposed to speak in place of Vice President Pence, who headed to Asia this week for the Olympic Games.
The National Prayer Breakfast is put on by the Fellowship Foundation, which was long run by Doug Coe, who died last year.
Now the event is organized by a team of 7 people that nominates about 5 potential speakers to congressional bipartisan co-chairmen who usually select the featured speaker, said Bob Hunter, a member of the foundation who has long helped with the breakfast. The speeches are not supposed to be political, Hunter said ahead of the breakfast, but some speakers, including presidents, have made them so in the past.
Each president presents a different set of problems, Hunter said.
Some of the keynote addresses have drawn attention for politicizing the event.
The most famous example, Hunter suggested, was when Mother Teresa, a nun and missionary in Kolkata, India, spoke forcefully against abortion in front of then-President Bill Clinton and First Lady Hillary Clinton, who support abortion rights.
People make speeches that are inappropriate, they can get political a little bit, but that always goes against what they're asked to do, Hunter said.
It's very clear they are not to make it political. The committee that handles the prayer breakfast is made up of Protestants and Catholics, and members make a point of inviting people from different faiths to the event. Past keynote speakers have included musician Bono, television producer Mark Burnett and his wife, actress Roma Downey, and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair.
Last year, the keynote speaker was Barry Black, the first African American and the first Seventh-day Adventist chaplain of the Senate.